There is somebody buying and there's somebody selling. Now, if you just strip yourself up into from all those things, okay, which you've been told that there is a technical indicator and this indicator is important and this is going to predict the future, and if this goes to this level, the market bounces and this and that. You know, that indicator itself, okay, was based, okay, on demand and supply. And that it says over there, right? It's oversold. What does it mean? Okay, that there was a lot more, okay, supply coming in, or overbought. What does it mean? Okay, that means, okay, there was too much demand over there, right? So everything is still based on demand and supply. And what we are asking you to do is take the focus away from understanding the market in terms of indicators and start looking at it in terms of demand and supply. And once, okay, you get to that kind of an equation where you're looking at the market in terms of where demand is higher, where supply is higher, okay, you would be at a much more better position to understand how it is going, right? So just to quickly sum up, okay, where we are right now. But what I want to draw upon over here is the equation between buyers and sellers, or demand and supply. And at every point in time, this equation keeps changing. And because it keeps changing, price moves. And price moves only when demand, price moves up only when demand is greater than supply. Price moves lower when supply is greater than demand. So once we understand this market as a basic math between buyers and sellers, between demand and supply, what we have to understand is how do we track this demand and supply line. And all my years, okay, I have been trading. I have been able to do that, okay, only by what I call an order flow chart.
Good evening, everyone. A quick sound check. I hope I'm coming across. Great. So welcome to this Thursday 5 p.m. session, and where we are going to do a review of what has happened in both Nifty futures as well as Bank Nifty futures using the order flow. And we have been emphasizing right from the start of the March series how the order flow has not been showing aggressive selling as it was showing in the past few series. So in fact, we have the candlestick chart. We have discussed about how we have this awesome feature included in the charts, which is this candlestick chart. And in the candlestick chart, you can select the time frame. So what I've done is I've selected the 30-minute time frame, and we'll do a quick review of how many 30 IBs that we have got in this series versus the IS30s. So you can see I'm just enlarging this. 28th of February is when we started the series of March, Friday. So on that day, we started with the IS30. So it looked as if the down move, which has been happening since the last 3-4 months, is going to continue. But things started to change into the close. The first IB30 came in the afternoon on Friday. And then as we made new lows on Monday, we found another IB30 bar. So you can see how the cot was turning green in the fall. So that was telling us that no supply was coming in the Nifty futures when we were making these new lows. So we got IB30 bar on all 3 days. It was a hat trick and it was after a long time where we were getting consecutive IB30 bars. And we have already spoken about the rule of 10 and how if we are getting continuous signals that the buyer or the seller is more aggressive. So you can see how we have got 3 IB30 bars very close to each other, and then we made this move higher from fifth. So this IB30 gets activated. How do you trade IB30? So IB30 is the initiative buying pattern on 30 minutes. IS30 is the initiative selling pattern on 30 minutes. So 30 minutes we follow for the bigger time frame, and that forms our bias. So whenever we get a IB30 bar or an IS30 bar, it gets activated only when the highs of the IB30 is broken out, and then we look for upside targets related to the lows of the bar. So whatever the stop loss would be the lows of the IB30 bar. So for example, the high of this IB30 bar on 4th March was 22232 and the low was 22147. So when this IB30 got activated at open on 5th, our target would have been, the first target would have been the range of this IB bar. So just like the range and volumes, how they come in, that they will tell us what the targets we can expect. So that is why we give lot of importance to the volumes which are coming in, and we always go with the latest data. So we do not trade a signal which has come last week. We will look the latest signal, take the levels from that signal, and accordingly to trade that. Once that trade target is over, then we look for a new signal to come up. So we can see how uh, on this 30-minute candlestick, we have got only 3 IB30s. So understandably, we got this up move, and this up move got stalled right below the rollover point. I'll come to the detailed 30-minute order flow where we will see the 30-minute chart from the 7th of March. Why we'll start from the 7th of March? Because before this, till the 6th, we have already covered in the session which we had a couple of weeks back. So we will start our order flow review on 30 minutes from the 7th of March. Before that, we let us just see what happened here. We stopped getting IB signals 7th and 10th, and this was the first time in the March series we hit the rollover point. The rollover point was at 22683. So there it was not showing us any demand. So from there we got this dip. In this dip on 11th, where we made this new swing low, 22361 was the lows of the 6th of March, the initiative buying tail which we had left. So from there we again got this IB30. It did give us the first target on the upside, but then it got negated because the auction again came back at that level. So once the IB30 gives you the first target, you will book profits and hold part with the stop loss at cost. There is no point giving back money to the market which in a trade which has already been a winner. So this IB30 gave the first target, but once it got back at the entry point, you come out of the longs and you wait for a fresh IB30. The fresh IB30 came on 17th, which was the start of this week. So you can see how this week has been bullish, because right from Monday, we have been getting IB30s. And at no point of time we got any IS30. This was the first IB30 which got at 145 on Monday. It was followed up by another IB30 in the B period on Tuesday. And then yesterday was a narrow range day where we did not get any IB signals. And today you can see how after the open was an open auction out of range and we coiled for most part of the day, we got this two IB30 bars in the afternoon, and that gave us that move higher. So we can, if you see a quick review of this candlestick all through the series, we have got only one IS30 which came right in the first day, and that IS30 also did its job. It gave us the targets on the downside, but after that we have not got a single IS30. That itself is showing how powerful the order flow is. And if we would have just followed the 30-minute order flow, there was no reason for us to be short in the series of March. So that is how the order flow shows us the relation between the supply and demand, and not just an order flow, as we have spoken, is a mix of important features. So we look at the COT, we look at the signals, and then we look at the LLTs. So on the bigger time frame, it was very clear that the main trend has been to the upside. Yes, we did stall at the rollover point, but once we got above that rollover point with an IB, there was no looking back, and we are now hitting new highs for the series every day this week. So let us quickly move on to the Bank Nifty and see how the 30-minute candlestick of Bank Nifty is all through this series. So Bank Nifty has not been as bullish as Nifty, whatever the reason. Maybe the weekly expiries is over or whatever. So you can see smaller number of IB bars, and more so, most of the series the COT has been on the red. But what has happened along with this red COT, you can see how this week majorly the COT was on the red side, but we did not get a single IS30 bar. So that is the reason we emphasize on looking at both COT and the signal. The signal will come on the topmost priority. So if we are getting red COT, we need to get initiative selling pattern for us to initiate a short side trade, which did not happen. Although we did not get any IB bars, we did get this IB, and after this we have not got any IB bars, and the Bank Nifty has been trending higher, but no point of time it gave us a IS30 bar. So there was no short in Bank Nifty which was activated. So that explains the reason, even though the COT was red, we were not into any short side trade in Bank Nifty. So let's now have a quick look at the 30-minute order flow chart, and this is the Nifty futures, and we are starting from the 7th of March. So from till the 6th we have already covered. So on 7th was the first day in the series of March where we were hitting the rollover point, which was 22683. So you can see how we got above the rollover point, and on 7th we made a seaside extension, after which we have got only RS bars. We did not get any IB30 here. This 1115 bar is a classic RS pattern. So this is telling us that the supply is coming in at the rollover point. So this is why if you are long at this point, you will need to tighten up your uh, stop losses. So here there was no signal. It was a range bound day and we remained at VWAP all day. So, but this was uh, very clearly telling us that the supply is coming in at this level. This RS of 22730 was our reference. This was a Friday. 7th of March was a Friday. So when we closed around the VWAP, and this was a nice balanced profile, which we made at new highs on the series of that day. What happened on Monday was we opened what looked like a drive up. We made a good green bar in the A period with the POC at this 22622. So look at how this POC gives you an important reference. So after which we made new highs in the B, but we were not able to take off this RS, and we again were getting responsive selling patterns. The RS from 7th of March was not taken out, and then we got supply again at that same level. So this was telling us that the buyers are kind of exhausted and the sellers are trying to take control over the auction. So again, we had a slow move lower, but in the afternoon, something changed. We broke this POC of the A period. And when we broke that, it gave us a clear change of polarity sign. So with this 22622 as a reference, even though we have not got an IS30, it was very clear that now the auction is headed lower. It is looking to go down in search of buyers because it has failed to get fresh demand above the rollover point. So here, once we broke this, you can see how we could not get back above this 22622. And we went on to probe lower. What we did here was, as we made these new lows on the 10th, you can see how the cot was again turning green. So what it was telling us, you can see zeros at the on the sell side. The dip is not getting any further supply. It is either covering by the sellers or demand is coming in. So this selling which we had seen at this 22730 region and which got more legs once this 22622 broke, you can see how it's kind of stalled at these lows and how the POC also shifted lower to 22525. So here our reference would have been this 22622 and this VPOC of this red bar at the G period bar, which was at 22571. So what we did the next day, 11th of March, we made new low. We opened with a gap down, but as we had seen, there was not much of supply which was coming at the lows. This gap down also showed us green caught, and we took support at an important reference. This was the neutral extreme VWAP 22361. So when we took support there and we got back above VWAP, we got this big LLT 1351 green, the A period POC, just like how we were taking the A period POC of 22622 as our reference. This 22410 was our reference, and these were all levels where the buyers had come in previously in the week from the first week of March. So the demand was again coming back at the references it had uh, left its impression initially. So once we got this, we left this A period buying tail. We continued to probe higher. Yes, we made this range extension which got stalled at this supply reference where we got an RS. So it was just telling us that the supply is trying to come back here. But what happened then was we could not break VWAP. And then we got this IB30. This IB30 gets activated above this highs, which it did get activated, and the stop loss would have been this 22502. Another point to note here is, because the VWAP is not breaking, we know that the sellers are not doing a good job if whatever responsive selling is come here. And because we have seen initiative buying here, how do we know this is initiative buying? Because we have left a buying tail in the A period, initiative tail that is. So as long as that is holding and we are above VWAP, we are looking for more upside. So this IB30, although it was a very small one, it did give the first target. And once it gives the first target, your reference becomes this 22541. So what happened the next day? We opened higher, but you can see where we got the supply. 12th of March, there was big reds coming in. Where did this supply come? Right at that 22622 point. 22617 is the high, and this was an open rejection reverse because we opened higher but got rejected. We got some big supply and we broke below the previous day's uh, VWAP. So what we did here, we saw supply coming back. We left an initiative selling tail and we continued to probe lower. We left this extension handle at 22441. But here again in all this, we never got an IS30 signal. And although we were breaking lower and getting some big red LLTs, we could not sustain the lows. And 22361 I had already mentioned was an important reference. It was the neutral extreme VWAP of the weekly chart in Nifty futures, and we again held that level. We made these poor lows. So what is these poor lows telling? Poor lows or poor highs show you exhaustion in the probe down. So here the sellers are failing to add. You can see zeros on the sell side of both these two bars. even this bar in between, which is made a kind of higher high, but higher low, but again zeros. So here it is very clear in these 4 bars that the supply is drying at the lows. And what we did again, we got back above VWAP and we closed as a balanced profile for the day. So again on 13th, we made another attempt to probe higher. We are still talking about the 22622 level. Here we made the seaside and the seaside showed us no demand. We have a zone, three zone of zeros. So this is telling us that this is a definitely there is no demand coming here. So here what is happening is, because of the lack of demand, we have broken VWAP and we have broken even this IBL. So what we have formed is a failed auction at 22615, and this failed auction almost gave us that 180R move of 22413. You can see where we have stalled here. We have stalled right above this NPOC from which is coming from the previous order flow of buy side uh, signal. So here again, what you are seeing in the order flow is green caught. Yes, we have got a failed auction. We have broken below VWAP. We have broken below IBH, IBL. We are almost approaching the 180R target, but at the 180R target, we are seeing caught turning green. And here again, the POC has shifted to the lows. So this is a neutral extreme profile to the downside. And in the neutral extreme, we give lot of importance to the VWAP, which is just 22504 zone. So what we saw on 13th at the close was a neutral extreme which closed at lows, but also the POC shifted lowers. And neutral extreme is very notorious for not giving any follow up. And the same thing happened. We had a holiday the next day, so we opened only on Monday. What happened on Monday? We opened above this VWAP, neutral extreme VWAP, and we went on to scale above this failed auction of 22615, taking off the 22622. But again, you can see where we have stalled. We have stalled just below the rollover point of 22683. In all this, there is no IB30, there is no IS30. So we are just waiting for a good signal to tell us that initiative buyers are taking control or initiative sellers are taking control on the 30-minute time frame. So that was not to be. What we were doing, we were making a probe higher, we stalled here, again we came back lower, we took support right at that neutral extreme VWAP. Just like how we made similar lows previously at the 22380, you can see how the supply is again drying up at this 22503 level. So the neutral extreme VWAP is holding, the order flow is showing us zeros on the sell side. So this is a classic case of exhaustion again by the sellers, what we saw couple of days back also. And once, that's what we say, from failed move comes fast move. So what happened after this exhaustion signal is that we got this IB30 in the 145 bar. But this IB30 was not activated on 17th. Why? Because we did not get above this 22604 level. So for this IB30 to get activated, we needed to get above this, get volumes above this, and then our stop loss would have been the low, which is at 22530. So we, although at the close it was not activated, the next day we opened higher, and the higher open, you can see how triggered this IB30. And what the higher open did was, it gave us a green bar in the A period with the POC right at the rollover point. And you can see this big 1800 green, which was coming right at that rollover point. So this was the day which was telling us that now the rollover point, which was being defended by the sellers till now in the series, is now being taken over, and it is showing you change of polarity. And at this A period, you can see the caught, which is big green 3833, and this was followed by another IB30 in the B period, which is giving you more confirmation. Again the caught remains green. So this is a classic case. 18th of March was uh, the open, the initial balance was the day where you knew that the scenario is getting more bullish for the series. Yes, from the open we were bullish, we were getting IB30 bars, but on 18th of March when the rollover point showed us greens, and I'll also show you the 3-minute chart of that that particular day. This is the 3-minute opening chart of 18th of March. You can see how we opened higher. We got zeros on the sell side, and then the third 3-minute bar is giving you an IB3, and the lows of that IB3 is right at that rollover point of 22683. So this was a trade all of us at the VMR blindly and hurriedly took up, because you don't need a better sign than this to take a long side trade. You've opened higher, zeros on the sell side, IB at VWAP, IB3 at VWAP, and right at that rollover point. So about 22720 with a stop loss of 22685. This is on the 3-minute. Your targets also get activated accordingly. And you can see how that IB3 went on to give the first target, then it gave us another IB. So you could have held on to the longs. So this is what happened on the 30-minute also. So easily this 30-minute went on to give us the targets on the upside. And once you get an IB30, this 227332 becomes our swing reference for holding longs. And you can see how after this marginal extension on the upside, the dip to VWAP again showed us zeros or single digits on the sell side. The VWAP was being defended. So when you have initiative buying signal and then the VWAP is showing you the supply is getting cut, there is no better bias than this in the order flow to hold on to your long side or to continue having the long bias. So you can see how we went on to make new highs, and this 245 bar gave us another important cue, because what it did was it hit this 22901 level. So we have not only negated that failed auction of 22615, which had come because of a sell side reference we saw at 22622. And then once we took out that rollover of 22683, we saw IB30 with lower 22732, which was our base. And now what we are doing is hitting the POC of February 22900 with a good green bar. So once you're doing this, your stop loss for shorts will trail to the low of that particular bar. So which in this case is 22850. So you can see how we remained above the 22850, and on 19th, which is yesterday, it was an open auction out of range where we saw some profit booking, and we made the dip to 22872. This POC of that green bar which I was talking about held 22870, right? And this was also the extension handle we had closed in a spike on 18th. So that was also holding. And after this, you can see how we have left a buying tail right at the 22900 reference. So when you are getting this confirmation, you know that the PLR is to the upside. Although we did not get any IB30 signals, we did not get any IS signals also. And right at this 1245 bar, which to come back to this IB30, the target one was, I think, at 22886, which got hit the same day. Target 2 was at 22963, which was also a VPOC in the market profile chart. So even that got hit. So this IB30 gave us both the targets. And after it hit the first target, it never came to the cost. And once we got this green bar at 22900, our trailing stop loss would be this 22850 till the time we get a fresh IB30 bar. So here you can see how in this probe higher in the H period yesterday, we got some big reds at the big round number of 23,000. So that is the reason we stalled on the upside yesterday, but at the same time, the VWAP was not broken. So when the VWAP is not broken and you have a buying tail at the initial balance, that too at an important reference of 22900, you know that the PLR is to the upside. And today it was not at all a surprise that we opened higher, well above this previous day high and the 23,000 level. But as expected, the higher open saw some profit booking, and we got an open auction out of range, after which we made a slow probe lower. But the new lows in the B period, you can see how it took support at 23015, and it was not ready to get back into previous day's range. So it was telling us that this is only profit booking, and once we got back above the VWAP in the C and D, it was only a matter of time before the buyers again made their extension on the upside. So that came in form of another IB30 bar in the G period. G period is a very important period we follow in the VMR, apart from the A and B, because there can be some definite scene or action happening in the period which will change the course of the day. So that's what we saw in the G period. We not only made new highs, but we left an IB30. So we were already long when with this IB30 was confirmed, got triggered as the H period went above this. And what we got was a double bonanza IB30 plus IB30, which is a very rare sight. So IB plus IB on 30 minutes is definitely a very good scene to be on the long side. So that is the reason we traded only the long Cs today, and we went on to hit good highs. Although we were looking at some uh, closing move which did not come post the K period, but that could be because of the fact that it was the weekly settlement and the option inventory was forcing this close at this 23,200. So all said and done, you can see how Nifty been a clean has been in a clean up move, and especially after it took off the rollover point with IB signals, and it continues to give us IB 30 bars. So our immediate reference on the downside would be the POC of this IB30, which is at 23135, which incidentally was also a VPOC in the market profile chart. So you can see how we call order flow the version 2 of market profile. So market profile gives us references. Order flow will tell us what is happening and what the supply and demand is doing at that particular reference on the latest auction. So as long as this IB30 is holding, we can look for more upside. The first target for this IB30 was around 23242, which we have missed by around 10 points. But the IB30 which got activated was this. So definitely it uh, pays to book profits. And now your actual stop loss would be this 23127 to hold longs. But as I mentioned, this POC again is an important support, and this is coinciding with today's VWAP. So going forward, we can expect some more upside to come in tomorrow in Nifty futures, which is the last day of the week. And provided this IB30 is holding and we get above this highs of today. The POC has shifted to the top, so this will be one reference for the open. We will have to hold above this, and definitely yes, you will keep getting reds as we climb higher, because buyers will keep booking profits, and which is definitely a healthy sign also. So unless they book profit, they will not come back at lower levels. So you can definitely expect, once we probe lower in this IB30 and this IB30, 23100 and 23140 would be levels where you can expect the buyers to come back. So that is as far as the Nifty futures is concerned. A quick look at the Bank Nifty order flow chart, because we are almost exceeding the time. So in Bank Nifty, what we have done on the 30 minutes, as we already saw in the candlestick, we were not getting much of demand. Not much signals was coming. I'll just quickly take you to the swing low which we made on 11th of March. So 11th of March was the day where we opened lower and we made new lows for the year in Bank Nifty, both in spot as well as in futures. But what we have done in this new lows is left an RB bar, a responsive buying pattern in the A period. And what we did is the B was above that. So we have left this buying tail also. So when you're looking at this kind of a structure and order flow is not showing you sellers adding at the lows, and it is giving you an RB signal at new swing lows, and the market profile is showing you a period buying tail, you know that the downside is now maybe getting limited. And what we saw here was the POC shifting to this 47,900, and from this base we made an attempt to probe higher. The both the highs were similar highs at 48,150, where we saw some supply coming back. But this uh, retracement after hitting this high of 48,150, you can see how the lows of this L period bar took support right at this POC 47,900. So this initiative buying tail from 47,846 and this 47900 became a base once we completed this 11th of March. It was a balanced profile. It was a kind of a P-shaped profile with the buying tail and a nice balance. So what we did in the next day was we opened higher. We made an attempt to probe, but we made a typical seaside extension and we left a failed auction at this 48330. But see what the failed auction has done. We broke below the IBH. We had to go to the 180R, but what it has done instead is it has taken support right above this POC, and this VWAP is being held. VWAP of a day which has got a buying tail is important. So this 47960 was being held at the first attempt, and in the second attempt also it gave us a IB30. Here in the where you see the cot is green. So when you are going lower and the cot is green, it is telling you that the buyers are using this dip to come into the auction. And if I enlarge this a bit more, you can see how you've got this 426 green right at this lows of this day. And this IB30 got activated the same day. 48127 was the buy, and this 47939 was the uh, low. So what we did, the first target for this activation was 48313. So we hold on to the longs as long as this lows are holding, and we book at the target which came in at the open on the next day, and we got an RS bar here. So you book profit at that level, and then once it comes back to your cost, you will exit and not hold on any more longs. So this IB30 bar was telling us, was giving us the reconfirmation in fact, that the buyers who had entered on 11th are defending the previous day's zone. So now our reference would be this 47939, the lows of this IB bar, and this VWAP, which was at 48031. So you can see how the next day the higher open gave a probe down, but we took support at this 48150, which is again showing change of polarity. 48150 was the highs we made on 11th of March. After we made those lows, we had two similar TPOs at the same level. So this was showing us change of polarity, and into the close, what it did was it gave us a IS30. So IS30 was not activated. Why? Because it came in the last 15 minutes and the lows of this was not taken out. It would have got activated only if we would have uh, broken below this 48100 and got volumes below it. Then our stop loss would have been this 48196 to hold shorts, and we would have looked for probable targets on the downside. But instead what happened was we went on to swipe higher on Monday. This was again a false close, just like what we saw in Nifty futures last Friday, not Friday, last Thursday, because Friday was a holiday. It was a neutral extreme even in Bank Nifty, but again, neutral extreme, we most of the time does not give a follow up, and we don't carry positions in the direction of the neutral extreme. Aggressive traders do the opposite. They carry contra positions when the neutral extreme close is happening, because they know that we can get a probe in the opposite direction, at least at the open. So the same thing happened on Monday. This Monday, we swiped above this IS30, negating this signal, and we went on to form a P-shaped profile. Yes, Bank Nifty did not get any IB30, then it was more supply which was coming in. But at no point of time, we got a IS30 bar also. So there was no short side trade. And on the daily basis from the 11th of March, we had been forming higher value, and we already saw how we left one A period buying tail on 11th, and this again was an A period buying tail 483752 48100. This came on 17th Monday. So after this came, we opened higher yesterday, and this was where it changed. So you can see how this A period was a green bar, which POC was at 48800 and the VWAP was at 48861. These were never challenged. Yes, this up move came on big reds, but because the POC and VWAP are holding of the previous bar, you know that the buying has been coming in. The demand is coming at the lower levels, forcing all these sellers to keep adding, and the auction continues to go up. And the interesting point, just like what we spoke about the rollover point in Nifty futures. The rollover point in Bank Nifty was at 49,000. So here you see, once we got above 49,000 in the B period, we never got back below it. This is an extension handle we left at 48,994. It was a very minute extension handle, and you can see the VWAP of that B period is also right at that rollover point. So you can see how once we got above the rollover point, 49,000 never got broken all of 18th, and the dip which we made in this 1245 bar made a low of 49,010, and here you are seeing an RB bar. So this is what is this telling you? Underlying theme is bullish. The buyers are either buying in cash or they are holding this important levels. They have been marking the levels on the upside, and they are allowing all the sellers to come in. They are defending the important references. So just like the Nifty futures was a clean buy because we got a IB3 signal in the order flow. Bank Nifty, we did not get an IB, but order flow very clearly is showing us it left the VWAP right at that level. And the pullback low, the RB signal also came right at that rollover point. So this was telling us that the sellers are shorting in the hole. And they all got trapped, and they had to keep coming out. You can see how once we made this pullback low and we made this range extension in the 115 bar day before yesterday, how the green bars, all 30-minute bars are all green bars, and how the POC of the previous green bar has been holding. And we've been forming a trend up move. Yes, we have not got IB30s, but at no point of time there was any short signal in spite of all the red caught in Bank Nifty. So which saved us from getting hurt also. So today again what we did was we opened higher, and the open higher went on to another important thing which I was talking about Bank Nifty was it was making higher value. So in market profile we look at value and not price. So when this move lower came, you can see how in this B period the cot was completely green and it stalled right at this POC of previous day. So Bank Nifty even yesterday took support at the previous day's POC, and today it did the same thing, and it got greens. There are lot of greens which are stacked at the lows of this B. So this was telling you that the underlying is bullish, and this got more teeth once this selling tail of the B period was taken out with an IB30. Again we got a very we got a IB30 in Bank Nifty after a long time, but it was still a good one, a 100-point range one, which got activated above this 50,031 level, and the target was that 50,131 and 50,232. So it has gone on to hit the first target today, and it is closed around the POC of today. So still, as long as this 50,030 is holding, our second target of 5232 could be coming in tomorrow, either at open or later in the day. So just like Nifty futures, this IB30 low 49930 would be the support in Bank Nifty, and as long as this is holding and today's VWAP is showing us some greens coming back tomorrow, we can look for more upside in Bank Nifty and look for some more long side trades. So that is what the order flow is placed in both. We have IB30s both in Nifty as well as Bank Nifty. So the lows of the IB30 would be the swing support for holding longs. We will come out of longs once the lows of the IB30 breaks, but to go short in the series, the last week is coming up from tomorrow, we will need a IS30 bar. Till we don't see IS30, we are not going to look for any shorts. In fact, we will look for the dips to show us fresh buying signals to get back into the main trend of the series, which is to the upside. So I hope it is very clear through the order flow in today's session how this entire series has been a bullish one. Nifty has been giving us multiple IB30 bars, whereas Bank Nifty, in spite of all the red caught, has not given us a single IS30 bar. One IS30 came, which was actually the last 15 minutes of 17th of March, which was not activated at all. So that is it from my side for today, guys, and let's see how this series closes up in the last week, and hoping for a great close to the March series, which has been a very good one for all of us at VMR. Thank you guys for joining in. Signing off for today, and we'll catch up very soon with another session. For any queries, you can mail us at support or DM me on X. At Uttam Goyal is my ID, and we'll be happy to answer your queries. So have a great evening and signing off. Thank you.